This might not be quite as recognisable internationally as the James Bond theme. It is the soundtrack of a film adaptation of the closest France has to a spy hero. His name is Malko Linge, but just one slight detail, he isn't actually French. His creator, the French writer Gérard de Villiers, opted to make his hero a penniless Austrian aristocrat, Prince Malko Linge, who works part-time for the CIA. Well, since 1965, de Villiers has published 3 or 4 books in the series every single year. The 200th novel, La Vengeance du Kremlin, was published just a few months ago. And the collection of books is known here in France as the SAS series, and SAS in this case has nothing to do with Britain's Special Air Service. Rather, SAS is the French acronym for Son Altesse Sérénissime, or His Serene Highness, which is the hero's princely title. Well, I'm going to go meet now a former French army officer and an international affairs reporter, Mathieu Mabin. What I want to know is just how much of a cult figure is France's 007?
Oui, je pense que tous les adultes français qui un jour...
I think that every French adult who's ever been through a railway station here in France knows who Malko is and has at some stage got their hands on one of the SAS books. They might not have bought one, but for sure they know who Gérard de Villiers is, and that the SAS series is what we call railway station reading.
As soon as you start reading about the life of Gérard de Villiers, you can quickly start drawing parallels with Ian Fleming. Though 20 years Fleming's junior, the similarities between the two men are striking. They both came from privileged backgrounds, they both worked as journalists before becoming spy novelists, and they both seem to enjoy vicariously living their fantasies through their fast-living heroes, who are inevitably sent on dangerous overseas assignments where they engage in fights and get down to plenty of sex. But just how plausible are de Villiers' SAS novels? Well, some people think they're a little closer to the truth than people in the French government might like.
Oui, en tout cas, c'est la réputation qu'ont les ouvrages de Gérard de Villiers.
His stories are actually known for their precision and their credibility. The personality of the author, de Villiers, is something of a legend in France, and lots of rumours circulate about his connections within the French secret services, and his contacts at the highest level in the country allow him to seemingly predict the future. Sometimes with the books he writes, he's even ahead of the news. Notably, it was the case regarding France's military operations in Mali, where he made what turned out to be accurate predictions about what was happening there several weeks or even several months before those actual events unfolded. So people are very doubtful here he's come up with all of this on his own.
In addition to his contacts in the French Secret Service, the media and the police here in Paris, de Villiers also travels. He's just got back from a trip to Afghanistan to research his latest novel. Well, legend has it that wherever he goes in the world, French ambassadors roll out their red carpets, and many say it's just possible that they give him a few handy pointers for his books, which, as Mathieu was just telling me, are always highly relevant to current global affairs. Let's listen now to an extract from one of them, read by Mathieu.
Quand j'ai rencontré le patron du MI5, il a tenté de me convaincre qu'il épousait la thèse du suicide.
When I met the head of MI5, he tried to convince me of his theory, that it had been a suicide. I got the message, but he's given instructions for this whole saga to be buried. Boris Berezovsky is now 6 feet under, and little by little people forget all about him. Still, it's odd, thought Malko, to see the British Secret Services being so accommodating to the Russians, the American side. That's the price of rapprochement with the Russians. David Cameron must have concluded that it wasn't worth putting Berezovsky's death ahead of British interests. The British have never been sentimental.
Real-life events and very topical. That's exactly what de Villiers delights in. And his books leave their readers with one question. Does he know something that perhaps the newspapers aren't telling us? Well, many say that the same may one day be true of Gérard de Villiers as was true of Ian Fleming, who didn't live to see his novels turn into blockbuster films. Well, a top US publisher has just bought the rights of 5 of de Villiers' SAS novels, so it could just be a matter of time before the whole world is introduced to his lifetime's work. For Monocle, in Paris, I'm Tom Burgess-Watson.
And in part